What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the CRWN Cinema Podcast. In this episode, we literally just watched Poor Things. I didn't really like it.
Oh, really?
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
It was really weird, and the beginning was just really disturbing. Yeah, seeing her be, knowing that she's mentally a child, and just seeing men take advantage of her and just have sex with her. Just really hard for me to get past.
That, yeah, that part kind of threw me off. Because Max is supposed to be, I don't know, a good guy.
No.
But he does.
Oh, Max, yes.
Yes, but he still does like fall in love with
a child.
Yeah. So it's
even though it's a woman's body,
yeah,
the brain the brain's the most important part.
That's because the first thing he says in the movie is he says like she's a pretty retard.
Yeah,
like, that's the first thing he says about her. So he's like attracted to just how she looks, but I mean he does admit that he falls in love with her, which I don't really know how.
Right? Like you think you would just be like,
yeah, I mean,
nice to her and have like compassion for her, not fall in love,
right,
with a child.
Yeah,
which is very strange. And I really was not enjoying a lot of the movie because of that. I was like, this is just, I can't do this. It got better as it went on. It wasn't as disturbing.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, a lot of it was cool. Like, I think the world would look cool and stuff, but I don't know. I wasn't really enjoying most of it. It wasn't really getting me intrigued. I was kind of waiting for it to be over, to be honest. It wasn't keeping me hooked. So if I had to rate it, I'm giving it a 6.
That's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
The art style was cool. It had cool cinematography that, it was creatively made, but enjoyability-wise really bumps it down for me. So I'll give it I think it's more than an average movie, so I'll give it a 6.
Okay. I was going to give it like an 8.2. Yeah,
what?
I mean, I liked it. Thought it was a good movie. Yeah, aside from that, I kind of like the way that they shot it. When she's trapped in the house with God and Max, it's black and white. She's still fresh, I think. Because it doesn't really explain what the timeline is. I remember when they're on the ship, he mentions, or no, when they've like been broke in Paris. I remember Duncan tells her that like they've been broke for weeks. Yeah. So there's and I was like, oh, okay. I thought it had been like 2 days, so anyways, going back to the beginning, when it's black and white and she's imprisoned, that's kind of just showing like, life is dull. Right. It's just it's all the same. It's kind of on a loop for her. And she's obviously still learning, like, because I think at that point she's probably like a 1, maybe 2-year-old, like in her mind. Yeah. So like God has to just keep her in this confined, safe space, but still allowed her to experiment. Yeah. Which is kind of the world that's around her.
I do think it's interesting in the beginning how it's black and white, because it does kind of contrast how her world right now is colorless. She's just pure experiment. She gets whatever she wants, does whatever she wants, lives in the same house.
Right. And she's bored.
Yeah.
She's very... she just knows she's trapped in a way.
Because she's still a human and still still is curious about the world and wants to know about the world. And then,
so I like the way that they went about that. I enjoyed whenever they do go outside, everything just looks pretty much how a child would see the world for the first time. She sees, like, she doesn't understand how a horse carriage works, and so it's the carriage, but it has the horse's head on it, but it's being driven like a car. Yeah. Because I think they're just showing she doesn't understand, like, how all of this works.
But he's
It's through her eyes, because at the end of the movie, the horses are pulling the carriages.
No, I think he's just an inventor, because there's other
carriages
go by with horses on them, yeah.
Well, I mean, you just see so many, like, questionable...
I think I thought he was just an inventor because it showed.
Same thing with like the dog with the duck head.
No, and I get that. Like, obviously he's good at kind of combining things. He puts a child's brain in a woman's body. But then, I mean, there's other things like how, because like there's like ships in the air that look almost like UFOs at some points.
I think it's just because the style is surreal, right? Like that's where you had surreal definition.
I see. I mean, I think because it's like a more artistic movie, I think it is kind of showing like through the eyes of like a kid that is like bewildered, probably wondering, like trying to figure things out. She can't really put things together.
I bet that's the meaning behind why they made it surreal, is because it's obviously a weird topic where they're putting a child's brain into a human body, but then it's like, how would the child see the world?
Yeah. So I took it as, she doesn't understand everything. And so like nothing really makes sense to us because obviously we have developed brains.
Yeah.
And so like the color scheme, like at the beginning, because as it keeps going, like it goes from black and white to her in Lisbon and then eventually just being on the ship. And like it's just a lot more vibrant, colorful.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily make sense. And I think that's because like she's still, she's probably like 5-year-old in her mind, like at this point.
And it also visually shows how much more interesting the world is. So if it's you can visually show her thoughts of like the outside world is so much more exciting to me.
Yeah, but
because it's so colorful.
Right, but it's also more simple. And so I think the way that they show that is whenever I never got the two people that they met on the ship, the old lady and the black guy.
Margaret or something. Something like that.
But the guy who's more, pessimistic about the world, he shows her like how bad things are.
Yeah.
And it's not as simple as half of a castle is just a castle and there's people like living above like this kind of Mad Max type world.
Yeah.
But in a child's mind, that's exactly how they see it.
Mm-hmm.
You go down some steps and then it breaks off and then all the world is just turmoil.
Yeah.
It's just pain, And so yeah, like I kind of just enjoyed like the advancement. You get to see how like she's getting smarter. She's starting like obviously just in the way that she talks. She doesn't know how to construct sentences or anything like that. But through the progression of the movie, you find out like she is like a brilliant person and all she needed was just to get out and live. So I enjoyed that message. I think one of my favorite scenes was whenever they're in Lisbon and Duncan falls asleep and so she like kind of ventures out on her own. And that was like, I remember just thinking, I was like, oh, she's like a child lost in the market because she sees all this like pretty stuff. She's tasting all the food. But she's also like hearing people argue. She's like hearing kind of bad things that she doesn't understand, like in like darker corners of, she's in Lisbon. And on one street, it's beautiful, sunny, everybody's getting along. But then she like kind of goes down like a dark alley. She hears something bad. She doesn't go explore it because that's the kid in her not wanting to.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting how whenever she does go with Duncan and Duncan takes her, it kind of is showing that young women can sometimes get tricked by these charming guys who really don't have their best intentions. They really just want them for their like very surface level reasons. They want to show them the world. They want to be the guy, the man. Makes you feel like the man if you can take a girl around and show her the world if she hasn't seen it.
Right.
She's like the perfect chick for that because she literally is a child.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that. Hopefully. Jesus Christ.
Well, he definitely knows something's wrong with her, but he sees her as an adventure too because he put together the contract of like their marriage, and I guess it must have just been insane. It must have been just what, like, who are you getting married to? Where like all of these circumstances must be met and all this. And, and so he doesn't really care what her mental capacity is so much as the fact is like people have established that she is something different.
Yeah.
And so that's all he's wanting to do. He has probably just, because he says that him sleeping with hundreds of women and not falling in love with them is underselling who he is.
Yeah.
And so he, when you think of it like that, he's probably just sleeping with just random bimbos that probably don't offer much, except their bodies. And so he's seeking his own adventure too, but he's not ready to be dealing with somebody that actually like has creative thoughts and is actually wanting to like explore.
I think he's enticed by the idea to be able to show her the world and she's naive. He falls in love with her being this naive girl that he can kind of, control over.
He thought he was going to be able to control the adventure.
Well, the thing is as you start to show a naive person information, they slowly stop becoming naive.
Yeah, and they just have more questions.
Right, and so she becomes not a naive girl, and then it's lost the fun, and now she's like questioning him, like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, why are you taking me around? Exactly. What are you doing? I was waiting for you to step up and be the man. You haven't done that yet. I thought you were the shit. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
So it's like a contradiction where he thought he could keep this little thing forever, but that was a corrupted viewpoint of her, because as he shows her, she's going to get smarter, wiser, and then it's not going to be as fun for him.
Yeah. But in a weird, conflicting way with his character, her breaking who he thought he was as a man, being able to control any woman he wanted, and realizing that he lost that control, somehow switched it on that he is in love with her, because he realizes that, well, I don't know exactly what he realizes, but he does just find himself completely infatuated with who she is. So, I mean,
I think that's just a cry for help, because he's realizing he's losing her, and he's just like,
yeah,
marry
so
me.
it's
like he's like losing control over her, and he's like, marry me so that way I can, you're my wife forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's ways to look at it.
That guy crumbled. After she stopped loving him, he crumbled.
Yeah.
Truly. I mean, everything he thought he was just was vanished.
Yeah. So that was cool. I mean, because obviously when we first see him, we see him fall in love with a child. Whether he knows that or not, you do know that he knows there is something.
Yeah, he's still taking advantage of somebody.
Right. Like when he first meets her, she's blowing bubbles in a closet, or like a...
Yeah, and then touches her out of nowhere.
Right, he's a bad guy.
Yeah, not a good person.
Yeah, so that was good. That was a good way of it was satisfying whenever she's like, I look at you and I can't believe I ever felt anything for you. It's like, yes, thank you. Being a whore actually ended up kind of working out for you.
Yeah.
So to me, it was just, okay, so I guess I better rate the movie. Or wait, no, I already 8.2. Okay, I couldn't remember. Yeah, it was just, I mean, it definitely has a type of feeling of Forrest Gump, which I appreciated.
Yeah, it's like dirty,
right, but more
psychedelic Forrest Gump.
Right, but she is just going with everything.
Yeah.
Just how Forrest Gump does, which...
she's finding out about the world.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what the movie's about, just kind of discovering the world. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think there's probably a lot of points to this movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess the central theme is this is life. And you just, I mean, you can go with it and learn more about it and try and learn everything you can and experience everything you can and meet all the people you can, or you can jump off a bridge. There's probably a better way to put that, but it's a way to be looked at.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think I'd ever watch it again, but I feel like a second watch would maybe give you some deeper... Wait, we didn't even get yours.
Well, watching it on Hulu with the...
That might have also ruined the experience. I will put that in consideration.
Yeah, so...
That was a little tough.
We were watching on Hulu, and literally every 30 seconds it would buffer. Not buffer, but it would get blurry. We thought it would pass, and then an hour later, it was like, should we just finish the movie?
Well, it was just so annoying because you can tell that this was supposed to be just a very creatively and...
Yeah, eloquently
shot movie.
Yeah.
And so I know that there were so many scenes that we missed out on some great shots because it was just blurry for 10, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it definitely takes you out of it.
So what you got though, Scott?
I know you like this movie.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I love movies that are what's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
I love how unique the cinematography and soundtrack are. They use some really cool lenses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like too whenever they use the super wide angle lenses. I think for most of the time they used them was whenever they were outside and when she was seeing the world. It's giving you the widest view of the world because she's like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, see, I think that's where I was really starting to get annoyed with kind of just our streaming problem.
Yeah.
Was I think those ship shots were probably so cool.
Dude.
Because the ones we saw were, I mean, incredible, but there's always the second time, at least for maybe me and Scott. I don't know about you, Kade.
Well, maybe I will. Since it was ruined by this, maybe I'll watch it again. Yeah, I think that definitely took me out of it. But I
love Emma Stone as an actress. Obviously, she won an an Oscar
Yeah.
for this role.
Actress, right? Best actress.
Best actress, and that I completely understand that.
I mean, she literally played every age
Yeah.
except for an old lady.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
so makes sense why she won that.
yeah. So but I've never seen her in a role like this.
No,
The
she
whole-
hasn't been in many weird movies like this, huh? What's her?
No, she has. I think she's more of an artistic actress. But it is strange, like seeing her like this, and I'm just like, damn, that's not the girl I saw in Spider-Man,
La La Land.
the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I forget she was. I didn't like those really.
I did, but I'm just a big Spider-Man guy, so I think I was
Yeah.
always just gonna be biased.
Yeah, I mean, you look at her resume. There's not many weird ones.
She's got a pretty good range though.
Crudes, La La Land, Birdman. Oh, you obviously said Spider-Man.
The Help was a good
The
movie.
Help's a good one. She's in Superbad. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Birdman was probably the closest to this.
this
I've never seen Birdman.
I haven't either. I think that would be a good one though, especially because Michael Keaton's doing it, and I know it's about like a actor that had like a superhero role, right? And like that's kind of been like his
Damn,
blessing and
that's
curse.
cool.
Yeah, and it's Michael Keaton, OG
Okay.
Batman. So
It's on Hulu. Nope.
perfect. I know it was on HBO. I think they just took it off though.
That's
But,
good.
Yeah.
But she did good in it. Like, she definitely played a believable little kid. I thought the writing was very well with depicting a little kid. Because if you think about it, he's not parenting her at all. So she just throws tantrums, wants exactly what she wants immediately, just like a kid. Like, there's no parenting really. So you're watching this, you're watching her play this little kid who literally has no parenting, no guidance, and just is acting on impulse. She did a great job of playing that role.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how she can play the piano at the end of this movie. Bet she was good.
Yeah.
It was just very well done because obviously, I don't know. I kind of like these kinds of movies. Obviously, I went into it. I knew nothing about this. I had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
Wow.
I don't know.
You didn't know if it was weird at all?
I knew nothing about this. Like I didn't look
Wow.
up a summary. I didn't look up like
You told me, Scott, that it was kind of what it was about. You told me that there was the chick was a little kid.
right. So I didn't know that. So when I'm first watching it, I just think she's like special needs, and obviously that he is like a Frankenstein type doctor who's doing like all sorts of strange experiments. But whenever it's revealed that it is her own child's brain put into her mind, I was like, oh, okay. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, so she's gonna get smarter. And I love that it was done very
Yeah.
slow.
Because she mentally aged faster than normal.
Well,
right?
but again, you have to remember the timeline was just very weird. Like we don't know how long they were in.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, we don't know how long Max was surveying her. So maybe him falling in love, to us, it's 20 minutes of screen time.
Because it did cut back to a memory that we never saw.
Right.
So we know that time. We know we haven't seen all the important parts of their time
And
together.
so I think the thing with Max, the reason you can kind of give him a little bit of, I guess, leeway with falling in love with a kid is because obviously he sees her in the adult body that she's in, but he also understands that she will one day be fully developed, and maybe there is him being able to see that she's developing faster than normal, but he understands.
That's called grooming.
I guess, yeah, but I mean, in a way, but for the sake of the film, obviously nothing is conventional. This is all very weird.
Yes.
So you can see maybe from his side that he can tell that one day she's going to be a great woman.
That's still creepy.
I would
Still
say
creepy.
I would say
I remember whenever he
strangely done.
whenever he picked her up and put her down and her boob is sticking out, he looks at it. I was like, dude, come on, bro. You know what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
part
it's-
was just
it's a way to look
I
at it.
couldn't get past
He
it.
puts it away.
He puts it
Yeah.
away.
He does.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
But I mean, I
Respectfully
just,
takes a peek.
yeah, I mean, this is definitely a purposely done artistic film, and so that kind of stuff is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
which means the movie essentially is doing its job.
Yeah. Yep. Which I guess I'm just not a fan of the creepy, weird, sexual shit in all reality.
There's a lot of sex stuff in it.
A lot of sex stuff.
No. But I don't know. I think like for me,
Like it's very sex focused in the beginning. Or I guess in the
I
middle.
think it's sex focused pretty much
I guess kind of the whole
throughout
time.
a lot of the movie. But
Yeah.
I mean, for me, with a lot of movies, like I can do without that. But I think with this movie, it pretty much just made it very clear that this is how it's going to be. So I just kind of got over it. I was like, okay, this is just how the movie is, whatever.
Yeah.
So it like by the time she's like not a whore, but like a little bit before that, like I was just used to it. I was
Really?
like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought at first whenever she like used the fruit to, make herself feel good, I thought that was gonna be like a funny little joke of like, oh, it's a kid found out for the first time, and it just it just snowballs from there.
yeah, no, she
She took it and ran with it.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The apple was just an interesting choice. I just don't really understand how that worked. But then she grabbed the cucumber, and I was like, oh, man,
Okay.
she's really about to figure something out here.
And you also don't really know, because I guess you don't really know how old she is either mentally, because she always, like every scene you see of her, she's like, at one point she just starts talking. You're like, oh wait, she can talk now?
Mm-hmm.
Because the scene before that, she's literally like walking around like a little 2-year-old.
I think when we were
Causing trouble.
first introduced to her, she's probably the age of 2, like 1 to 2, because that's
She's still walking.
yeah, that's what 2-year-olds look like and act.
Yeah.
Like the way she's like kind of figuring out her walk. She's like throwing stuff on the ground. So I think when we're introduced to her, she's probably like 2 years old.
Yeah. What has the filmmaker said about this movie? Have they commented like what's the meaning behind it? What do they make it for? Because I would really like to know what their intention was. Because watching it, I couldn't really figure it out.
Well,
It's obviously
definitely
about like life and figuring out the world and
well,
dealing
it's
with
obvious, and I'd say it definitely is like a feminist movie. There's a lot of messages for women and like growing up
it.
in the world.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there's a lot of those messages.
Says an Oscar nominee for writing. Oh, The Lobster.
The Lobster is good.
Really?
I've been
Is it
mean-
weird too?
I've been meaning to watch it. Oh, it's got to be.
What's his name? Lanthimos?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
He felt that Poor Things had the potential to be a coming-of-age film unlike any that audience had ever seen.
No, that's what they're all gonna say.
I mean, definitely is.
Yeah.
I guess that is an interesting way to show somebody growing up in the world like that when
Mhm.
she's an adult, getting, having to experience the world as an adult, but from a kid's point of view,
Yeah.
showing the risks of the world and being taken advantage of. Because at the end, she gains her wisdom by all the experiences that she's had. She becomes out like super wise because she's
Mhm.
literally lived the rich life with old Duncan, right? His name's Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
To the literally being a whore in a whorehouse.
Yeah.
She's experienced all life.
But then you really remember. I mean, I'm trying to think. I guess her rock bottom is whenever she sees the dead babies. Because even with Duncan, like she was still like optimistic. She was like, well, I mean, we can just figure this out. We don't have to just give up and sit in the snow. But like he just realized he wasn't capable of that because, I mean, I would assume he'd probably just been given everything that he had. So he didn't really know what it meant to work. That's why he was just like, we have nothing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so she's like, what? Like, there's jobs. Like, you can
Yeah.
just go get a job. We can afford to, like, stay in a room, like, get food. Like, all we have to do is just think. And he was like, no. Just gave up. So,
Yeah, just fucking cried.
but yeah. And then,
I was going to say, oh shit. What were you talking about? You're talking about
her rock bottom.
her rock bottom. Oh, it didn't make sense to me really whenever she wanted to run off the thing and kill herself after seeing how horrible these people were living. She's going to run off the stairs and jump off. But he stopped her.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to help them.
No, yeah, she wasn't killing herself. She was going down to be with them and help them. And then he tells her, like, if you go down there, like, they'll rob us, rape us, ravage us, like, all
But the
that.
stairs were broken. It was like a cliff.
Yeah, but that's like just her kid's mind. That's what I was like saying. Like that's her view of the world.
Okay, I could. Yeah, okay.
Like there's no.
I didn't watch it as like a metaphorical shot.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it was just like literally broken.
No. Because like you have to think at this point in her life, all she's understood is like high class people, and now she's just seen lower class, so she doesn't even know what middle class looks like. She just thinks people live up in the castle or people are just dying below.
Yeah.
So that's all she thinks.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's interesting though that she's so, because she's not. I guess she's very empathetic in that scene toward those people. But there's also a scene in the beginning where she's like stabbing a dead dude's eyes.
All right. Like as a kid, I
mean,
mean,
you'd think she'd be just so desensitized to everything because she's like literally watched surgeries, stabbing dead bodies.
Yeah, but those people I think are probably already dead. I mean, that's just science rather than actually seeing humans suffer.
Yeah, it's different. It's science. It's
Yeah.
not real. It's not
like I just think
as emotionally attached.
Right. And you know, that just goes to show with like you have to like learn empathy. You know, you're not really born with it. You have to, as you grow, like you understand like how empathetic you can be. She realizes she's pretty sensitive. But then like yeah, it's not the same as like whenever she's stabbing the bodies, because whenever Max like gets the frog for her and shows it to her and she kills it, that's just what, you know, some kids do. Like I remember when I was like 7 years old, like there was this one kid who every day for recess just wanted to go kill ants. So
yeah,
like,
what is that about? Why does she? It always shows her wanting to kill in the beginning, or at least cause damage, and then it switches when she goes to the real world.
Yeah, because I don't think she really understands like what pain is, or like what suffering is, or like what dying is. She doesn't know what dying is. She probably thinks, who knows what she's thinking. She's a kid. She just doesn't care.
Yeah. And it maybe has to do something with the environment that she's in. She's in this science environment where there's no really love or compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And it causes her just to outburst and just want to, like, the only really thing she can change is like this life or death of this frog, and, you know, just stabbing people squishy.
Yeah. You know, who knows? I mean, I just don't really remember, like, I don't know. Like when you hear about somebody dying when you're like 5, you just don't really understand what that means.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, being the age we are, like we understand, like, okay, that's like a father, son, grandpa, brother, sister, that kind of thing. So it's like you understand like how dark death is. Mm-hmm. And she just doesn't, because she's just a child.
The one character I didn't like was the whorehouse mother.
I liked her.
No, she was so manipulative. She's talking about she doesn't want to do it. She's like, well, look at my baby granddaughter. Don't you want to take care of her? You have to do this. Now go give me 10 francs.
She's like showing her the world that she knows. AKA, she's probably been a whore like probably her whole life.
And she's jealous of all the pretty girls because she's not wanted anymore.
All right.
That's why she always wants to buy them.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, she's twisted, but that's just because that's how she's been treated her whole life.
Right.
So she has a granddaughter, which means one of those girls down in that house is probably her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so like she doesn't think that this is like a wicked way to live. This is just how she lives. This is all she knows. Like that grandbaby, that's probably what she has planned for it.
Unfortunately
to us, but you have to think like for someone like her, that's all she knows. So she doesn't even really think that it's like bad. She doesn't really think it's like a bad way to live, because like she lives in a gorgeous house with, you know, a bunch of other ladies, and they eat well.
And by what it seems in the movie, it seems like a lot of the guys that are coming to the whorehouse aren't bad guys.
Right. I think there's like,
they get in, get out. There's no like abuse. It seems like.
Yeah. So like it's more of just like a sophisticated. Yeah, I think to them, like, it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just how it works.
Back then, I'm sure that back old school London, you know, they're in France at that point, right?
They're in Paris, yeah.
I'm sure it's not like that big of a crime like it is now, to where it's like only, you know, probably bad dudes. Not really, you know, but it's probably more accessible, so a lot of more normal dudes probably are going to this whorehouse to go.
Yeah, but I mean,
get some.
They do kind of touch on that, though. She but I think that it was like done in a pretty interesting way, or like delivered in an interesting way, is whenever Bella like calls out the guy. She was like, "Why would you want to have sex with one of us when you know we don't want you? Like, how does that make it more enjoyable for you?" And then the madam tells her like, "Well, you know, that's just how some guys are."
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't say it in like a resentful way though. She's just like, "That's just how some men are wired." So she didn't see that that's a bad thing. But then Bella's like, I forget how exactly she says, but she's like, "Oh, so like some men are just evil." She's like, "Yeah, I guess."
No, I thought she said. I didn't think she said that. I thought she said something
It wasn't evil, but she was like, some men are just twisted or something like that.
But that doesn't stop her. She makes it more pleasurable for herself.
Yeah.
She makes them tell a story about their childhood. She tells them a joke.
Well, I was just the one guy. I mean,
no, but she was doing different things each time to make it more enjoyable for herself. So that way it wasn't miserable.
Yeah. And it was, you know, she was doing it for him too. She was like, you know, there could be some humanity.
Yeah.
In
She's
this.
like,
there could be just a tad bit more passion, and this will probably just be more enjoyable for all of us.
Yeah. I'm sure she recognized the guys that are doing it where they know they like that the women don't like it. That's not like actually fun for those dudes. Probably they don't feel good about it. They're shitty people. She's like, hey, we don't have to make this shitty.
Yeah, and post-nut clarity is a real thing. Like, I just,
I
think about a guy just going in there with a girl, doesn't say anything, does what he does, and then you're telling me he just walks out there and he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be a great day."
Yeah, you just feel like fucking shit about
like,
yourself.
God, I am an awful, awful man. You know,
you just have so much shame. You came into that place so fired up, and you came out walking head down, shoulders down, just I'm a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. And then he's right back in there probably 2 days later.
Yep.
He's like, no, I need this.
It's like a reverse confidence booster. He like walks in all tall and mighty, and then walks out just slumped over.
That's how it is, you know. You gotta treat yourself somewhat decently. I mean, you gotta treat your body as a temple in some type of capacity.
Yeah. It's funny with her not knowing much about the world. She's much more like resemblance of like what a dude does, like goes out and just like has sex with a bunch of different people, doesn't tie down. Like you see that today, like with men. But with her, she doesn't know anything. She's like, she's not shocked. She's like, why do you care? Like she doesn't understand that there's like relationships and you shouldn't cheat on people and you said you'd be with this person. She's like, and all the men are just heartbroken. She's like, what do you mean? Like, what's the big deal? Which is kind of like, it's funny because that's what you see today with dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny seeing her act that way.
Which is definitely a message that they're trying to like get across. Because, you know, that's like an argument, or that's something that I think in the culture that we're in right now is like, I think sex has become just a lot more casual.
Yeah.
But to a different type of standard. Like, and that's what this movie is trying to get across is, you know, Duncan is kind of like the douchebag rich guy that gets to sleep with all the women he wants and, you know, manipulates them. But as soon as he finds out that this girl that he was pretty much just trying to fuck over from the beginning, like spread her legs a little bit, and then he calls her out for it. And she's like, how the hell can you be mad at me? Mm-hmm. That's like where we're at right now in today's time. Like asking people what their body counts are. Mm-hmm. Like some people get offended by it, and it's just to each his own. At least that's how I look at it.
There you go. You're an open-minded man.
I'd say so.
Did you find anything about what
I try to be.
There you go. Did you find anything about what the filmmaker was trying to say?
I'll go look for that.
I guess coming of age is what we said.
I mean, right now, yeah, I think it'd probably be hard right now to like actually find something that he dove deep into it, because he's still promoting the movie.
No, it came out a while ago.
But like, it is based off.
But
of
he's
novel.
Still. Oh, is it?
If that answers any of your questions.
Okay.
It reminds me of a book I read. Like, I don't even know. It was years ago. Josh Bakud.
Shout out
him. He put me on it. But it's about a guy that was born with special needs, and then he undergoes like some type of experiment, and like he gets smart. He gets smarter and smarter, and then like the end of the book is he ends up getting way too smart and like gets way too pissed off at the world and all that. So I kind of thought that was the direction they were going to go, which I was going to be sad about. but she kind of finds like the perfect balance. She understands that the world is good, the world is bad, but it's kind of how you decide to look at it.
Mm-hmm. I thought, I mean, what all did it win the Oscars it won? Because the Oscars that you told me it won, it lives up to them. Acting, yes. Makeup, yes. His makeup wasn't like anything crazy though. Just like a couple scars.
On Willem Dafoe, I mean, no, he had a whole new face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. But I'm saying, you think like, I don't know, something like a alien shit where it's like not even human makeup and it looks real.
Oh, these are all the nominations, but I remember it was costume, production design, best actress.
That's it.
That's it.
3 down.
Costume design.
It's like her outfits, her clothes.
Yeah. They definitely got the era right.
But I think does costume design also to go with the sets? What's the set?
Production design.
Production design.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the productions were cool. The production design was cool.
She had some pretty interesting outfits on, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just don't know, like who, or I don't know what movies were up against this. So, which?
It's not just her costume; it's everybody's.
Yeah. No. I get that. I guess they looked good.
Yeah.
I'm bad with, like, I don't really have an eye for that kind of stuff. It's like I wouldn't be the one to be like, oh my God, look how they dressed.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what I really enjoyed about it was the way it looks, the stylistic aspect of it. But again, I felt like it could have been the Hulu messing up. But I really wasn't that invested in the story.
I was, as soon as I found out that it was a little kid brain, like, because I thought it was going to be a Forrest Gump type thing, which is fine. But if they were going to shoot it the way that they shot it, and it was just going to be her, like, being special needs, like going on adventures and stuff, I'm sure, like, that would have been good. But I liked, like, as soon as I found out that it was a little kid's brain in her body, I was like, okay, we're going to see her, like, develop and, like, grow up in some pretty cool scenarios. So I enjoyed that. And then I loved the twist that she, you know, her body is still recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, she's not just some random girl. Like, this, he found her in London, kept her in London, which means somebody could recognize her.
Yeah.
And then that's what ended up happening. And then I like that it's a general that stops the wedding, and you kind of just assume, like, he's got all the medals on, so you war hero,
Right.
and so you're thinking, oh, this guy's probably like a really good man.
Yeah.
But then it's just another twist. It was like, oh, bad guy.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that.
It's kind of cool because she almost, in her new life, through her mother's body, avenges her mother's life because her mother was probably locked in this castle for most of her life and then eventually left and killed herself.
Yeah.
And her daughter, who's now in her body, lived a very colorful life.
Yeah. Well, and then you have to remember, so Duncan on the boat, he's like, marry me. She's like, no. He's like, all right, well, then I'll throw you off the ship. And she's like, so your proposal is that I marry you or you kill me.
Yeah.
And then she recognizes that. And I think at this point, God knows, she's probably like, I mean, she's definitely still like, she might be a teenager. She might still be younger than that. But she recognizes that that's bad.
Yeah.
But then her former husband gives her the same exact scenario.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no. Like, I made the right decision whenever I left Duncan. I'm definitely not about to, like, go back on that. Like,
he's about to take away her most favorite thing.
Which is?
Her vagina.
Oh, that. Yeah. But then he's also like, if you try to leave, I'll kill you.
Yes.
And so she's like, well, I've been offered that before. And so, but in her mind, like, she doesn't think like, oh, I'm a prisoner here. She's like, well, I've already escaped that. I bet I could do it again. So I like that. I like that she's like getting smarter she's getting put in situations that are different but also kind of the same, and she knows how to maneuver through them.
Yep.
So, yeah, I enjoyed the story.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but I wasn't really that invested in it. I thought it was okay. But, this is him. This is Willem Dafoe getting it. His makeup. All right, let's watch it. That's got to be so brutal to sit through. Hours.
Every day.
Imagine Baron Harkonnen, whole body.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to get in like hours early, get ready, and then prepare for your role, and then go sit down. Can you save that, Scott, that tab?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I kind of liked, just in the beginning, I was getting a Frankenstein feeling for the whole movie. Kind of like, to me, it seemed like they were paying some type of homage to that. Like, I think there was some influence on like the original look. So I thought that was cool, especially with him or God.
Yeah.
I liked his look. Definitely gave off that because I was like, oh shit, is this about to be like kind of a scary movie?
When I was watching, I kind of forgot that it was in black and white until it hit color. I was like, oh shit, that's right, it's been in black and white. You get so used to black and white that it really, you kind of just become blind to it.
Yeah. But, yeah, man, 8.2.
6.
8.
Yeah, it was okay. But, yeah, that's all I got on Poor Things. Any final thoughts, Gray?
Congrats, Emma Stone. Did good.
Yep. All right, y'all. Thank you all for watching. Catch us next week on the CRWN Cinema Podcast. We are out.
Trying to buy my next meal. Seems all I do is drive. And when the boss man sends my next check,